The story begins with a chilling winter night. The camera slowly pans over a small village covered in snow, its cottages glowing faintly under the pale moonlight. Everything looks quiet, but there is an uneasy silence in the air. We see a man, visibly troubled and anxious. His face is hard, his eyes are restless, and his movements are unsteady. He walks through the darkness of the forest, holding the hands of his two children, a boy and a girl. The boy is named Hansel. The girl, his younger sister, is Gretel. Both children appear confused, their innocent faces shivering with both cold and fear. The father avoids looking at them directly. He leads them deeper into the thick, frightening forest. Every sound of crunching snow beneath their feet echoes unnaturally in the silence. Gretel whispers, "Papa, where are we going?" The man doesn't respond. His hand trembles as he finally stops, that he turns his head slightly, his breath heavy, as though fighting against something inside him. Then, with a sudden decision, he lets go of their hands. The children look up at him in confusion. Without a word, without a single goodbye, the man walks away, fading into the shadows of the forest. Hansel and Gretel call out for him, their voices breaking, but he doesn't return. The camera lingers on the children's terrified eyes as they realize the truth. They have been abandoned. Alone. The forest of fear. Hansel holds his sister's hand tightly, trying to be brave. They wander aimlessly, their small figures dwarfed by towering trees. Branches creak above, owls hoot in the distance, and the cold wind whistles like whispers of hidden monsters. Exhausted and hungry, the children stumble deeper into the woods until something strange appears before them. A house, unlike any they have ever seen. Its walls are made of gingerbread, its roof decorated with candies, and its windows framed with sugar glass. Sweet aromas of baked bread and caramel float through the air, seducing the starving children. They exchange a glance. Hesitation is quickly replaced by hunger. Slowly, they step inside the gingerbread house. But the moment they cross the threshold, the sweetness vanishes. Inside, the house is dim, the walls warped, and the air smells of burnt flesh and rot. Standing in front of them is a grotesque figure, a witch. Her crooked smile stretches unnaturally, her eyes gleam with malice, and her voice rasps as she welcomes them. Captive of the witch moves swiftly. Hansel is shoved into a cage, iron bars slamming shut behind him. He rattles the cage desperately, screaming, but it's useless. Gretel is forced into servitude, the witch commanding her to clean, cook, and obey. Gretel's fear grows when she notices the fireplace, its flames roaring unnaturally bright. The witch prepares it carefully, feeding it wood, sharpening knives, humming twisted lullabies. It becomes horrifyingly clear. Hansel is not to be a guest. He is to be the main course. Gretel's heart pounds as she realizes the witch intends to cook and eat her brother. One night, as the witch leans over Hansel's cage, taunting him with promises of his impending death, Gretel acts. With trembling hands but burning courage, she grabs a hidden dagger. As the witch bends closer, Gretel thrusts the blade deep into her. The witch shrieks, stumbling back, wounded but not defeated. She collapses but quickly rises again, her strength unnatural. Rage distorts her features as she lunges toward the children. Hansel, with all his might, pushes her. She stumbles backward into the furnace. The iron door slams shut, trapping her inside. Flames roar, and her screams echo until they fade into silence. The witch is dead, burnt to ashes. Hansel and Gretel, scarred but alive, embrace each other. Their survival becomes a legend whispered across villages. The tale of two children who killed a witch. The rise of witch hunters. Time passes. The children grow. Their trauma becomes their weapon. They dedicate their lives to hunting witches, tracking them across lands, eliminating them one by one. Their names spread far and wide, Hansel and Gretel, witch hunters. Years later, the story shifts to a troubled village. The place is shrouded in fear. Children and villagers have gone missing without a trace. No bodies are ever found, only whispers of dark forces in the surrounding woods. The camera moves into the town square, where tension peaks. A police officer, stern and merciless, accuses a young girl of witchcraft. The villagers gather, murmuring, fearful yet eager for blood. The officer declares that the girl must die to rid the village of evil. But before the execution can proceed, two figures step forward. Armed, confident, and carrying an aura of experience, Hansel and Gretel. They stop the officer, their voices steady, their presence commanding. Hansel inspects the accused girl and quickly determines she is no witch, just an innocent human. The officer, furious, challenges their authority. But before the argument can escalate, the mayor arrives. He explains that Hansel and Gretel have been summoned to eliminate witchcraft from the village. Their reputation precedes them, and the mayor trusts them completely. The officer protests, but the mayor's decision is final. The witch hunters will stay in the village until the terror is eradicated. First encounter Hansel and Gretel waste no time. Following clues, they venture into the woods. Soon, they discover an old, decrepit hut, its appearance eerie, its silence threatening. Inside, they find a witch, grotesque and menacing. The witch attacks without hesitation. The fight is brutal, spells fly, blades clash, and the forest trembles. Gretel is struck down, nearly crushed under the witch's power, but Hansel retaliates with fury. He pins the witch down, and together, the siblings overpower her. They capture the witch alive. Returning to the village, they interrogate her. She refuses to speak at first, snarling and mocking. But a search reveals a map in her possession. The map points to something ominous, a lunar eclipse only 3 days away. Alongside this revelation, they connect the dots. More villagers, especially children, have gone missing. Hansel's conclusion is clear. The witches are behind it all. The mayor, alarmed, offers them a handsome payment. He pleads with them to rescue the missing children at any cost. To aid them, he assigns a local tracker, a man who knows every path and secret of the forest. The sheriff's betrayal while the mayor trusts Hansel and Gretel, the police officer despises them. He refuses to believe in their methods, dismissing them as outsiders who bring chaos. Behind the scenes, he hires mercenary hunters, offering them payment to track the missing people. These mercenaries, armed but arrogant, march into the forest under the cover of night. They mock danger, convinced of their strength, but danger finds them first. The Grand Witch appears as the mercenaries argue. A woman approaches. She warns them, her tone eerily calm. This forest is cursed. You shouldn't be here at night. They scoff, laughing at her concern. Then her face shifts. Her disguise falls away, revealing her true self, a terrifying witch of immense power. The Grand Witch. Her presence alone darkens the forest, her aura suffocating. The mercenaries panic. They scatter, screaming. But there is no escape. The Grand Witch hunts them down, killing them violently one by one. Their screams echo through the night until silence consumes the forest once more. The dark truth meanwhile, Hansel and Gretel discuss their findings with the tracker. He reveals more terrifying details. In these woods, witches are protected not only by dark magic, but also by a monstrous servant, a giant loyal to them. The siblings realize their task is even more dangerous than expected. At this point, a young boy approaches them. He is eager, starry-eyed, and full of admiration for the famous witch hunters. He dreams of becoming one himself. Though determined, Hansel warns him. This isn't a fairy tale. Hunting witches will cost you everything. The boy doesn't care. He just wants to help, to stand beside his heroes. Children in captivity. The camera cuts to a chilling underground cellar deep in the forest. The missing children are shown, locked away, trembling. Watching over them is the giant, a towering, grotesque creature with unshakable loyalty to the witches. The Grand Witch arrives with 2 other witches. They drag a child forward. Dark chants fill the air. The child screams, but the ritual begins. Blood spills, and the witches consume it hungrily. The Grand Witch tries again to harness greater power through her black magic, but something is incomplete. They need more. The ritual demands 12 children. 11 have been taken. Only 1 more remains, and they intend to claim that final child soon. A trap for the witch later. One of the witches roams the forest, hunting. Suddenly, she hears a child crying. Drawn to the sound, she approaches carefully. In a clearing, she finds a child sitting alone, sobbing. She creeps closer, licking her lips. But as she reaches out, she realizes too late, the child is a dummy. A trap, the ground erupts. Chains snap. Hansel and Gretel strike. The witch is captured, thrashing and screaming. Back in the village, the siblings interrogate her. At first, she refuses, cackling and twisting in madness. Hansel, losing patience, strikes her. Finally, she confesses. 12 children, we need 12 for the blood moon ritual. We already have 11. Tonight, the 12th will be taken. And then, the world will belong to witches. The revelation chills everyone to the bone. And as if summoned by fate, the Grand Witch descends upon the village itself. Her arrival heralded by fireballs raining from the sky. Chaos erupts. Buildings burn, villagers scream, and the siblings are thrown into their most dangerous battle yet. The village is in flames. Smoke fills the night sky, villagers run in panic, and the Grand Witch's fireballs leave trails of devastation. Amidst the chaos, Gretel and the tracker fight desperately to push back the infernal assault. But the Grand Witch is too powerful. With one sweep of her hand, she sends Gretel crashing against the ground, grabbing her by the throat, preparing to end her. The tracker lifts his weapon, firing into the monster's face, distracting her just long enough for Gretel to break free. But the Grand Witch retaliates viciously, chanting dark words, her voice echoing like thunder. The tracker screams, losing control of his own mind under the weight of black magic. In a final, tragic moment of clarity, he raises his gun to his own head and pulls the trigger. His body falls lifeless to the ground. The Grand Witch disappears into the night, her laughter trailing behind like poison in the wind. Gretel's capture. When Gretel regains consciousness, she finds herself dragged into the woods by the sheriff's men. The corrupt officer, now fully unhinged, blames the witch hunters for the chaos. He sneers, spitting insults, and orders his men to restrain her. Gretel fights back, stabbing him with a hidden blade. He roars in fury, preparing to kill her himself. But before his blade can fall, the ground shakes. Out of the darkness steps the giant, the witch's loyal servant. Massive and terrifying, the creature crushes the sheriff's men effortlessly, throwing bodies aside like rag dolls. The sheriff fires his gun wildly, screaming in desperation, but the giant stomps down, crushing him into the earth. His reign of terror ends instantly. The giant lifts Gretel's broken body gently, almost carefully, and carries her away. Despite his grotesque appearance, his actions are strangely protective. In a hidden place, someone tends to her wounds, applying herbs and poultices. Gretel realizes something shocking. The giant does not wish to harm her. Hansel's struggle. Meanwhile, Hansel awakens, barely alive, dangling from a tree after a brutal fight with a witch. His body is weak, his mind clouded, but salvation comes unexpectedly. The young girl he had saved earlier, the one accused falsely of witchcraft, appears again. She frees him, supporting him as he stumbles. As they rest, the girl reveals her truth. She is indeed a witch, but not like the others. She is a white witch, pure, pious, using her powers for good. She explains that not all witches are evil. Some exist to protect, to heal, to balance the world against darkness. Hansel is shocked, conflicted, but her kindness cannot be denied. She heals his wounds, strengthening him for what is to come. The secret of their past. The siblings reunite soon after, discovering an abandoned cottage hidden deep in the forest. Something about it feels familiar. They step inside and realization dawns. It is their childhood home, the very house their father abandoned them from so many years ago. Their confusion deepens. Why had their father done it? Why had he left them to die? Before answers can come, the Grand Witch appears, her presence filling the air with dread. She smiles wickedly and unveils the truth. Not all witches are evil. Long ago, a white witch fell in love with a simple farmer. They married and had 2 children, Hansel and Gretel. But the Grand Witch, enraged that one of their kind could love a mortal, revealed the truth to the villagers. The farmer's wife, Hansel and Gretel's mother, was burned alive. The father was executed for hiding her secret. And Hansel and Gretel, left to die in the woods, victims of the Grand Witch's cruelty. The revelation shatters them. Their blood is not purely human. They are the children of a white witch. Gretel, especially, is marked. Her heart carries the essence the Grand Witch needs to complete her ultimate black ritual under the blood moon. Hansel, wounded, the siblings lash out in fury, attacking the Grand Witch. The battle is fierce, but she is too strong. She strikes Gretel down and drives a dagger deep into Hansel's stomach, leaving him gasping on the floor. She vanishes into the night, taking Gretel with her. Hansel collapses, blood pooling, his breath fading. Darkness consumes him, but when he wakes, he is not alone. The White Witch girl stands beside him once more, having healed his wounds. She reveals herself fully, her powers, her identity, and her mission to stop the darkness. Hansel, though shaken, accepts her as an ally. They set out together to rescue Gretel and stop the Grand Witch once and for all. The boy who idolizes Hansel and Gretel also joins them, refusing to be left behind. Armed with courage and determination, he follows his heroes into the storm. Blood Moon Ritual. Night falls. The witches gather in a vast clearing under the ominous glow of the blood moon. Flames circle the area, twisted chants fill the air, and the imprisoned children are brought forth, trembling in fear. Gretel is bound at the center, her life force destined to complete the ritual. The Grand Witch begins the ceremony. Her voice echoes, her hands dripping with dark energy. The children scream as the witches prepare to slaughter them one by one. But suddenly, gunfire erupts. Hansel bursts into the clearing, weapons blazing. The boy fights by his side, while the White Witch unleashes her own powers, combining magic and modern firepower. Chaos explodes. The witches, once confident, panic under the assault. Some are gunned down, others flee. The White Witch mows through them with bullets and spells, until her weapon jams. Still, she fights on, her courage unshaken. The giant reappears, charging into battle. He crushes witches under his massive fists, even throwing himself against the Grand Witch to protect Gretel. The ritual begins to collapse. The witches turn on each other, screaming, fleeing, dying. The final confrontation. But the Grand Witch does not retreat. She rises above the chaos, her eyes burning like coals. She hurls Gretel aside and goes straight for Hansel. The boy tries to help but is struck down, gravely wounded. The White Witch attacks, her powers glowing brilliantly against the night, but the Grand Witch stabs her with a dagger, leaving her fatally wounded. She falls into Hansel's arms, whispering her last words before dying. Hansel's rage ignites. He grabs a massive chain and wraps it around the Grand Witch, dragging her toward the burning ruins of the gingerbread house, the very place where it all began. He smashes her, strikes her, refusing to yield. But the Grand Witch breaks free, lunging at them with monstrous fury. Gretel, recovered, joins her brother. Together they strike. Their blades flash, their strength uniting. With one final motion, they decapitate the Grand Witch, her head rolling into the flames. The witch is gone. Forever. Epilogue. The forest grows quiet. The surviving children are freed. The villagers mourn their dead but rejoice in their salvation. Hansel and Gretel stand together, scarred but unbroken. The boy, though wounded, survives. The giant lingers nearby, a silent ally, before disappearing into the trees. The siblings know their journey isn't over. There will always be witches, always darkness lurking. But they are ready. Together, they walk into the horizon, witch hunters, siblings, legends. The screen fades to black.